and welcome to Virtual Sewing Room in Conversation with. And today I'm joined by.
Una Doyle.
Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find my sewing Instagram and YouTube channel at Sew Vintage Glam.
And your YouTube channel's super new.
It is, yes. It's something I've wanted to do actually for probably like 1-2 years. And I kept thinking, I haven't got time to do this. I haven't got time to do this. And then over the Christmas period, as I was looking at my sewing plans, I ended up coming up with this idea for how to do my sewing plans, and then went, oh, this would make a really good sewing challenge. Why don't I get other people to do it with me? That'd be really good fun. And then I thought, I kind of need a video to explain this. And I'm not sure that Instagram allows me to do a long enough video. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to bite the bullet and set up this channel.
Amazing. I wasn't going to start there, but we will. But whilst we have a chat, what are you working on?
Right, well, I've got a couple of things here. I upcycled this skirt and added pockets. But I just the other day, because I've been putting lots of things in my pockets because of having hurt my ankle and going around on crutches and things. I think I overdid it, and so that has come off. So I'm going to patch that, and then I have another thing which is a skipper bodysuit. It's a cable skipper bodysuit, and then I've got these sleeves which I obviously didn't sew very well when I did it, so I need to go back and do those again. So because I keep trying to put my hand through the sleeve hole and it gets stuck in the cuff instead, which is not fun. So yeah, so if I can get at least some of that done, or all of it during this, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I'm currently untangling some thread because I thought, I'll just cut off a bit of pink, but I'm now untangling it. But I've got some embroidery on a hoodie, which is an ongoing thing during these chats. So
right, okay.
These won't be uploaded in order, so people can try and guess which order. So yeah, slowly covering up this logo on a hoodie with flowers and things.
Yeah.
So have you always been crafty?
No. Not at all.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, my mother quite despaired of me. So my mum sewed, and I'm the youngest of 5 children, so she definitely was of the era when, that most mothers sewed their children's clothes. And I do remember, like now, I know what it must have been like, but I do remember me being upset at her making me a dress for a birthday party, and I wanted to go and buy one, and I was kind of getting into the brands and things, and the whole peer pressure and wanting to be like everybody else. So yes, so I probably did hurt her feelings by going, I don't want to wear your homemade stuff. And in fact, so when I was going into secondary school, in the first year, we did a lot of subjects, and then we had to kind of fine tune in the second year, and I had to choose between art, music, and home economics. And I was saying to my mum, "Oh, I can't decide. I love music and I love art. I really wish I didn't have to choose between them." And she just looked at me and went, "You're not doing either of those. You're doing home economics." And it's the only subject I've ever failed in my life, which clearly was a very passive fingers to my mum, passive aggressive thing. So yes, now I love to cook and love to sew, but I kind of fell into sewing by accident, not through the pandemic actually, which I know a lot of people did, but because I changed my style. So in early 2019, I basically dyed my hair pink and started wearing vintage style clothes, which was quite a challenge because trying to find what I wanted to wear was not easy. I ordered some things online, and one of them came, and I loved the fabric, but it had a gathered skirt on it. Now, I would never buy anything with a gathered skirt because it just always made me look like I was pregnant. And now I know why. We'll come back to that later. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to send this back. And then I started having these ideas of, well, maybe I could take it to a dressmaker because it was a fuller skirt. And I thought, well, what if they took the skirt off and then used some of the skirt to create a midriff and then just had the skirt a bit narrower. And so I was kind of beginning to think like this. And then I went to an event, a networking event, and I was sat next to this woman who knitted and sewed. And she was saying, I had my first kind of vintage style. It was a shirtwaist dress. And I was wearing that. And so she was kind of going, oh, I love your dress and this. And so we we're talking about it, saying, oh, I'm really struggling to find what I want. And she said, oh, why don't you make your own? And I was like thinking back to, because like not only did I fail that home economics class, I hated it. You know, we had the teacher who we had was, well, let's just say she had her favorites and I wasn't one of them. So I really didn't enjoy it. I kind of flashed back to that time and was like kind of, you know, oh no, I don't want to do that. And then I thought, oh, Una, you're an adult now. You know, it's like I felt the same about cooking, you know, but then when I moved out and moved over to England, I had to learn how to cook. So I was like, okay, well, I now really enjoy cooking, so maybe I should give it a go. So I went out into my car after the event and looked up Learn to Sew Burnley, which is where I live. And yeah, I found a teacher and I booked a lesson. I was very wary in the beginning because as a person who's creative in other ways, as opposed to crafty ways, I was very aware of not kind of going whole kit and caboodle into sewing and then a few months down the line going, oh, I don't really like that. You know, I didn't want to do that. And so I didn't even get a machine until my birthday, which was in June. I borrowed one a month or so before that, but it didn't do a zigzag stitch, and I was working on a knit garment, so which didn't help. So I effectively, for the first 6 months, only sewed twice a month when I went and had my lessons. But yeah, I'm really glad that, you know, it was interesting because the very first lesson I had, so my teacher kind of went through a whole load of different things, like different fabrics, and then she was showing me tension on the machine and kind of just, you know, what was loose and what was tight, and, you know, to kind of create like different samples so I could understand what was what, and I had to put stuff into my notebook and things. She's a very, very good teacher. And she's actually a very good friend of mine now.
I was going to ask, is it the same person?
Yes, it is. And yeah, so anyway, so she said, okay, well, just do a straight line like that. So anyway, I did it, and she looked at me and she said, that's not a beginner's row. She said, you must have sewn before. And I was like, well, maybe I did when I was a child, but I don't remember it. I don't remember my mum teaching me. I don't remember making anything, but maybe she did. And I guess I did do the home economics class, but like, you know, we made a skirt. You know, very simple kind of thing. I don't know. So I guess I wasn't a complete beginner, but I did just take to it like a duck to water.
I say maybe it's just yeah,
in the genes.
yeah. Sometimes you pick up these things kind of subconsciously.
Yeah.
I know. Certainly after I lost my parents, there was a lot of reflection on, oh, I've picked this up from my dad, and oh, I've picked that up from mum. So sewing was mum, and yeah, it was really interesting. Like, oh, that's where I get it from. Like, yeah, hindsight and all that.
I do think my mum would be kind of looking down, going, "See, look."
I'm sure she'd be very proud that you finally putting.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. She made me learn to type as well, and I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, a very useful skill these days.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So what was the appeal of making vintage clothing, because this was one of the main things I wanted to talk to you about. Like, what was the sudden desire? I had it always
Oh,
been
okay.
there.
All right. So, what happened was, so I'm just to give you a context. So, my day job, so to speak, is that I'm a business coach. And I've been in personal development for, well, over 20 years. In fact, I've been running my own business now for 21 years. So, in fact, I think this spring it might even be 22. Yes, it will be 22 this spring. So anyway, just to explain that I've been into personal development. I tend to do journaling, meditation. Always been interested in how I can improve my life and improve myself and have a happier life. And so anyway, one day I was journaling, and just at the very end of it, I had 3 words pop into my head, and they were unleashed, unapologetic, and unstoppable. And I kind of went, oh, those are great words. Like, why are they popping into my head? So I wrote them down, and then over the coming, I kind of not long after, I thought that'd make a great name for a coaching program. So I actually started working on pulling that coaching program together, which was kind of the culmination of where I was at that point. And it was all very exciting, but I kind of felt this bit of a niggle. And so one day I asked myself, am I being unleashed? And all of that. And the answer I gave myself was no, which really peed me off. Because I was going, are you kidding me? Like, I've been in personal development for all this time. How can I not be unleashed, unapologetic, and unstoppable? And I couldn't really figure out why, because I didn't feel it was a confidence thing. So I just didn't know. And then, so that was in the run up to Christmas 2018. And between Christmas and New Year, one day I was like, oh, I've got loads of time. I love to do a guided meditation, because otherwise my mind just goes here, there, everywhere. And so there's one particularly long one I like to do. It's by a guy called Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it's called Blessing of the Energy Centers. And you kind of go through your whole body and just kind of really get aligned. And I always feel amazing after it. And I quite often do feel more creative after it as well. Anyway, I think because I was more relaxed, it was holidays, I didn't have to be anywhere. I just really went deep into this meditation, and I had a vision. And I basically was watching myself from the wings of a stage, and I was in front of this big room speaking to a load of women. Now, I've done a lot of speaking, and unlike most people, I actually really love it. And I was there, but I had this colour hair, and I was wearing a 50s style swing dress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and even as I say it now, I'm getting tingles down the back of my spine. And it was so powerful that when I kind of came out of the meditation, I was like, wow, okay, I guess I'm changing my style and dyeing my hair. And 10 days later, I was in the hairdresser's chair. And don't get me wrong, it was, a bit nerve-wracking, that I remember writing in my journal, and I kind of had a conversation with myself one day about this, because and it was just like a little bit, it wasn't massive, but there was a little bit of, well, what if I dye my hair pink and then clients don't want to work with me? Because they don't take me seriously or something. And but I immediately came back with, well, what about all the people who would have worked with me but didn't, because I didn't do it? And so so I went ahead with it and went and got my hair dyed and haven't looked back. And it's been amazing how many doors it's opened, how many conversations it started. And actually, I do this thing called FocusMate, which is online video co-working. So it's a platform that matches you with people. I've now done over 4,000 sessions in recent years. So as you can tell, I use it quite a lot. Anyway, the amount of times people will come on and one of the first things they'll say is, oh, I love your hair. And they're smiling. It just brightens them up. So yeah, it's just been, it's been amazing. And the thing is, I look back at that day when I had that vision in the meditation. If I hadn't done that, I would not be sitting in this house. I wouldn't be sewing. I wouldn't have met you. There's so many sewing friends I wouldn't have met, because and just about the house thing, I actually ended up buying, well, myself and my husband, we bought this house from my sewing teacher's daughter.
Yeah.
And like, we might not have known about it, and it's quite different from the houses around it because it has extensions and things, and so it's unusual to get this house where we live, and particularly in the price bracket that we were able to get it for and stuff. So, it's like, wow, like we wouldn't have been in this house. I wouldn't have these friends, and something that has become not just a hobby, but probably more of an obsession, really.
It's a way of life. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Especially when you've got a whole room dedicated to it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I am very, very lucky with that. Yeah, because in the last house I shared my office. And I didn't mind sharing my office. In one way I was like, well, this will keep it front of mind, that it won't be behind a shut door. Would I forget about it? No, is the answer.
Yeah, I ended up during the first kind of lockdown in the UK, I immediately came to here because there was a desk, and I what was quite cheeky was when we had like team meetings, there was like 50 to 60 of us. We were getting updates on things, ways of working, and I'd just be here and I'd just be cutting out, because I was making a quilt, I'd just be cutting out stuff or like pinning things and like listening. And,
yeah.
like, half the people were
brilliant.
off camera, so I was like, it was quite sneaky, but then in the end it was that separation of work and play. So I was like, okay, I need to work somewhere else. So I ended up setting myself up in another room, and then it was the kitchen table, and that was perfectly comfortable, and risk assessment, all that stuff. But so this was kind of protected from that kind of work side of things.
Yes. Yeah.
So quite.
It does feel like a sanctuary.
Yeah, it does. I know that when we do sessions, or if I just want to crack on with stuff, I can close the door and just, subject to the dog knocking, I can just kind of escape and spend time.
Yeah.
And it's So if you're not sewing, what would you be doing? Is it just sew, work, sleep?
Well, I have a husband, so we spend some time together, which a lot of the time is watching telly. He's a mad film and TV buff, so that's a kind of big thing for him. And I must admit, I do enjoy it as well. He got me into sci-fi. My gateway sci-fi was 10 seasons of Stargate SG-1, not long after we first met. Because I didn't think I liked it. And then, and actually, interestingly enough, a guy who I knew through personal development had said sci-fi is a way of discussing ideas and philosophies that people are much more open to, because they're not seeing it set in their time or in recent times, and quite often perhaps with non-humanoid looking characters. And I think that kind of opened a little wedge. And then he was like, oh, well, let's have a look at this. So I was like, oh, okay, then, and then I really liked it. And I love sci-fi now. So then the other things I do, I love to dance. Obviously not doing that right now, but hopefully I will be soon. There's another dance on, I think it's 9th of February or something. So I don't know if I'll be well enough to actually dance at that point, but hopefully we'll see. And then I like to go for walks. So I'm just looking out at the lovely hills here. So I don't do hiking, but I like to go for a walk. That's about kind of 50 minutes, an hour 10, something like that. That's probably enough. I have an old car accident back injury that any longer than that, and it tends to start kicking in, particularly if I'm doing hills, which around here you can't not do hills. So
the dancing, we've already had Bea on talking about her belly dancing.
Dancing,
do you enjoy?
Well, So I used to do a lot of salsa dancing when I lived in Leeds. There's a big salsa scene over there, and there is a big salsa scene in Manchester. But I find salsa things are on very late. And then when you're trekking home, and these days I tend to get up early and go to bed early-ish, so it just doesn't fit my lifestyle the same way. However, with getting into the vintage, I thought, oh, why don't I try doing some jive? So before COVID, I went and had some lessons, and then obviously COVID happened. And then I did find one not that far away. Actually, it was a bit nearer than these other ones. And I went along really excited because I was thinking, oh, this is brilliant. There's only 15 minutes drive away. It's at a good time, good day. But when I got there, I was something felt off during it, and then it was only when I sat down to take my shoes off, and get into my outdoor shoes, and they were doing social dancing, and I realized it was sequence, like sequence dancing, and that's basically where everybody does exactly the same thing.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh no, this isn't me. And it's interesting. A lot of people, when they hear I like dancing, they're like, "Oh, you must love Strictly Come Dancing." And I'm like, actually, I don't watch it. And I think for me, and maybe it's kind of coming from the salsa side of things, but things are like quite free form, and yeah, I don't like things to be so regimented as that.
Yeah.
So with the jive, the more, the not sequence type of dancing, I just feel that's more me. I think there's more opportunity, more freedom, more opportunity to be creative. You're still doing a partner dance, and I enjoy that. It's actually something that I think can be really helpful for us as women to do partner dances. And I think some people might kind of go, that's a bit of a strange thing for Una to say. She's like very independent feminist. Like, why would she want to be led around on the dance floor? Well, actually, it's because I spend all day, every day making decisions in my business. And so that actually cannot but help bring you into the masculine energy. Whereas doing partner dancing, you've got somebody leading you, which might be a man. It can be a woman. Some women prefer to lead. That's fine. I don't care as long as I have a partner. Unfortunately, my husband doesn't like dancing like that, because I would have loved for it to be something we do together, but it isn't. So I'll go along. Funnily enough, one of my sewing friends I now go to the vintage style dancing with. So that's great. So we can dance a bit and then talk sewing.
Perfect night out.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about a bit about the challenge you've set up.
Yes. Well, so I was looking at everybody doing their makes for the year and their make nines, and I looked at. In fact, I have it just here. I can, yes, get it down on my notice board. This was my make nine last year. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You see how many things are ticked off?
Is it just the green tick?
So I've done boning and I've done matching plaids, so that I did 3 out of the 9. Because I thought I'd do skills rather than specific patterns and fabrics, because whilst I do have a nice stash that I'm working my way through, I'm always getting new patterns because I'm in 2 Patreons. And I wanted something that was flexible. So I was thinking through all of that. So I ended up creating the Sew 25 in 25 challenge. And I basically, the idea is that you pick up to 5 categories. Now, if someone is going to go 6, that's not a problem. Like, I'm not going to go, you can't do the challenge. The whole idea is flexibility, but I kind of think up to 5 for most people is probably going to be enough. And the idea is that you kind of pick one of those categories, either by pieces of paper in a bowl, or by using one of those spinny app things. And in the details, I give a link to one that people can use. And then you sew something from that category, and then you pick another category. So you take that category out, Now, I've kind of said people can, if they want to put it back in the next time, they can. Or they might leave it out and then just work through the categories one at a time, and then that would give them a very even year. I probably don't want things to be quite as even as that. I just want to make sure I do get to do some of the things. So my categories are works in progress, like whips, upcycles. I've got a whole host of things that I want to upcycle. I think because I'm just almost finishing the whole 30 fabric challenge by Pink Jacinta by Mimosa. Anyway, you can put the link in. I have it in the details of my 25 challenge. So basically, it was sewing through 30 yards of fabric before you buy any more, and I felt like I don't want to do that again because I just am sewing through my stash, and I might do it at another point. Maybe I'll do it every year or two or something. But I just wanted something else. I wanted a different focus, but I wanted it to be fun and to be flexible. And I was thinking about how I love the sense of anticipation every month. So I'm in Gertie's Patreon from Charm Patterns. And the first of the month, I'm literally there, refresh. What have we got? What have we got? It's so exciting. I really like that. So, and that's why I thought, well, if you're kind of randomly picking a category, then it kind of means you're not just going to keep doing the same category. But which is what I've done with like Make Nines and other things. Then it just kind of nicely forces you into doing some of the things that you might not get to otherwise. Yet it makes it fun. So I've got whips, upcycles, scrap busters, sewing from scratch. I had another one. What was the other one? Gotta go back to.
You've got 4 on your Instagram.
Oh no, it's 4. There you go. I did have all 4 of them. Yeah. Right, so I have 4. And then I have subcategories. So my subcategories are dresses, capsule separates, because I've been working to some capsules, sports bras, undies, foundation stuff, coats, home decor. Yeah, I've started one pair of curtains and didn't really enjoy the experience. But I need somewhere in this new house. I need some more things. And then something for Steve, my husband, or other people. So I probably will do more sewing from scratch. Like I'll probably keep putting that one back in, but be doing things in between, because I've got a lot of stuff in that category that I do want to do. But this allows me to, with the whole fabric challenge, I felt reluctant to do some upcycles because I wanted to get through the challenge, and that wasn't using that up. Yet it's still stash of a different kind, So I just thought this would be exciting to do and share. I've been it's been amazing. So many people have come on board and are doing it. So if you go check out that hashtag on Instagram. Today I've just uploaded my another video about it. I've got another one going up in a few days where I'm actually saying what I've done the spinny wheel thing. So I've got my next category, because at the moment I'm doing 2 projects that I started kind of over the Christmas period. So one is I'll just show you this sleeve. I think you might have seen this before. Ta-da! This is a shirt for my husband. And so this is Toy Story fabric, which is awesome. So I'm making him that shirt. I'm not far off finish now. And then I've got something else that I'm making from scratch, which is from this lovely fabric here.
Amazing.
So, but that's a secret project, which I can't reveal yet. And it's just, yes, it's now going to be revealed a bit later because of me getting slowed down with the accident. So yeah, so I'm going to do that third project, I might actually, I think I've probably got a bit of work to do in that, because I need to actually make a list of all my works in progress. And that's gonna take a while, to just make sure I've gathered them all up from different places around my sewing room. They're mainly in a tub up there,
You don't
on a
have just
shelf.
one pile, it's multiple.
Yeah,
Just tuck them in wherever you can hide them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So so I think, I just thought, for people who maybe Make 9 doesn't work for, they've maybe tried it a few times, and there's plenty of people who it does, and I think it's a great idea. I love it. It's not criticizing that at all. It's just different things suit different
Different
people,
way to
don't
challenge
they?
yourself, that's all. And I think that fun element. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and she was just talking, this comedian was talking about how she was doing cleaning. She was just doing loads of chores, but she'd put like something in the microwave or oven. So she had 15 minutes. And so she was like smashing out all the chores, and she felt like Mary Poppins. So was, singing some of the songs in her head, and unloading the dishwasher, loading some washing on, doing this, doing that. And like she had 15 minutes because she knew then the oven was going to beep, and just make a bit of a game in her head. And she said it just makes it so much easier. So
exactly, gamify it. Yeah.
Challenges, I think. I don't take part in many because it feels like it's that time pressure when you've already got something on the go, and then a deadline for another one. But this one, I think there's that nice randomness to it, but you can still control what's within that 25. And yeah, I think it's exciting. It's nice to see so many people, even in the sewing room community, popping up and taking part, because it's something a bit different but achievable.
It is. And I had somebody message me yesterday on Instagram to say, thank you so much for starting this challenge. I found some great people to follow.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So that wasn't even something I thought about at all. And then I've had new people that I've connected with as a result, and conversations with them in the DMs. And it's just, I am definitely a social sewer. There are times when I do like to just be by myself and focus and really be in the flow and kind of go with it. And also, as an extrovert, then I like to interact with people on Instagram and now in the YouTube comments, and go on the socials, which is obviously how I got to know you, through Virtual Sewing Room. It's really nice. And I think sometimes you have an idea and you just need to act on it and make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened with Virtual Sewing Room. Why does it exist? Right, I've got some time. Let's try it. And here we are.
Exactly. And just one of the other things I want to say about the challenges, like I typically would only sew like 12, maybe, I think I did 14 things last year, but that was including underwear. So I've got that scrap busting section, because I'm not going to be able to make 25 garments with the time I have available. And actually, even when I have whole days, like it's very rare I would spend a whole day sewing. I tend to do a few hours and I'll go and do something else. So even if I did have more time available, like if I wasn't working, I'm not sure I'd sew a lot more than I do. So probably a little bit more, but I think not hugely more. It's just for people who maybe think, oh wow, 25 things is a lot. Well, a scrunchie might be one of those things. A little bookmark might be one of those things. A pouch could be one of those things. It doesn't have to be a garment. And then there might be other people who, it's dead easy for them to do 25 things. Well, great. Yeah. And actually, even if you go and look on the hashtag and look at the categories that people have, it's been so inspiring. Just the different things that people have come up with, from from reenactment type things to oh gosh, there was a few other ones that, like, one person had vintage this, vintage that, vintage the other, vintage, and I was like, 5 vintage categories, awesome. Like, I absolutely love that. But then there's also been obviously people kind of sewing from stash, and doing the works in progress and things like that.
Inspiring. Are there any small businesses or brands that you want to give a shout out to?
Can I do two?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one. It's not a tiny business, but it's a local business
Yeah.
for me, and it's a fabric shop called Emmanuel's with an I. They do have a website, but their Facebook group is kind of better, to be honest. The website isn't fantastic, but they've got amazing dead stock fabric. I've got a lot of I think most of my early purchases were either from Pound Fabrics or from them. And like things like viscoses for like £2.50, £3 a metre, cottons £5 a metre. For anyone that is in the Northwest, it's definitely worth the trip. And I'm quite happy to kind of take you there. It's a little bit in the back street, in Burnley. So happy to do shopping trips with people. But people, you can buy online from them as well. And they're just a really great team, very helpful. And so I'd like to give a shout out to them. So that's a local sewing business. And they are a small business. They're not like a big corporate, And then the other one, which I suspect has probably been mentioned by other people, is Stash Hub.
Hasn't yet, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, well, there you go then. So, yes, I'd like to say Stash Hub. And it was interesting because I was back and forth in the DMs with Yvette and Doug a few different times because I was using an Airtable database, which I had set up and wasn't costing me anything until one day I was no longer able to upload any photos. And then I was faced with, if I wanted to carry on using it, paying out £20 a month. So, because it's a business tool, it's not designed for home sewists, so eventually I went, okay, do you know what? I'm going to do this because I have a rather large fabric stash and pattern stash.
Yeah.
So I've got fabric stash in the cupboard there, and then I also have a lot of online ones as well. So just the thought of the job of putting it all on just felt a bit like too much. And unfortunately, it's not easy to export from Airtable and then just import. And I thought it was going to be. And it's not Stash Hub's problem. It's how Airtable is structured that exports. That it exported most, but not all of the content, but it didn't export the photos. So it's been a bit of a job, but I'm just gradually working my way there. And I'm just going to have a look in my Stash Hub now. And so I go to my stats. I've only got 25 fabrics on, but I have got 86 patterns on. I thought I'd start there, and I'm only adding the fabrics that I'm actually sewing up, or I had added a few kind of thing. So, so that's 86. I probably have got another 100 or so patterns. All right, that's better. I can see you now. So, so I got a lot of things. Like there was 282 rows in the Airtable database, and I exported it for fabric. But some of those are just like a piece of lace, like this size. They're not all 3-4 meters of fabric.
We've been rambling on for a long time, which is fine. It's been lovely, but we do need to wrap up. And how did you go with your mending?
I finished the skirt. I'm almost finished one sleeve.
Super. Yeah, I've got a couple of flowers extra on, so it's looking a little bit more vibrant.
Yay!
Slowly building. I got to the end of some thread, so I thought I'm just going to listen now rather than rethread. So are you ready for a quick fire round of this or that?
Yes. Yeah.
Woven or knit?
Ooh. I'm going to say knit with the proviso that I'm planning on doing a lot more woven this year. So ask me in a year's time.
Okay, we'll come back. Blue or green?
Blue.
Plain or patterned?
Patterned.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Knitting or crochet?
I'll say knitting, but despite me talking about bringing needles through an airport, I'm just really not very good and have not done very much.
That's fine. Train or aeroplane?
Airplane.
Spots or stripes?
Stripes.
Tea or coffee?
Herbal tea.
Perfect finish or life's too short?
Ooh. I probably lean more towards the perfect finish. However, I won't stress myself out about stuff. So then I'll get to a certain point and be, it's good enough.
It's a good philosophy. Yeah. Cake or biscuits?
Cake.
Read a book or watch TV?
I tend to go through spurts of reading. So like when I go on holiday or something, I'll get through like 5 or 6 books in a week. And obviously I'm reading businessy books and things like that a lot. In terms of relaxation time, I spend more time watching television. I probably like to spend a bit more time reading or sewing.
Zips or buttons?
Zips.
A text message or a phone call?
I'd say a phone call or a voice message. You know, like in the WhatsApp. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sewing machine or hand sewing?
Sewing machine.
Cream first or jam first?
Jam.
Okay.
How can you put jam on top of cream?
Oh, quite easily. Just I don't know. Yeah. How do you put cream on jam? Like,
Yeah, but so you spread the cream and then you dollop. Sorry, you spread the jam and then you dollop the cream.
well, it's the same dollop of jam. It's easier to dollop jam than to dollop cream because cream you have to spread.
See, I think you can spread cream on jam. I don't think you can spread jam on cream.
This is the most heated it's got so far. And because virtual sewing room keeps it light and friendly, we'll agree to disagree as long as we're having scones, then all's good.
Exactly, yes.
It was lovely chatting to you today. People should go check out your vlog channel and find you on Instagram. I look forward to seeing all the things that people interact with the challenge. What comes?
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing about it and for having the conversation. It's been a lot of fun, and I will see you in the next virtual sewing room soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
Cheers. Bye for now.
Bye.